So today we're together just to talk about stress and depression during the holidays. And I think it's interesting that this landed today. I know it seems like a lot of the country has been going through stress and depression leading up to yesterday and the election and everything. So I think that probably just leads into some additional stress, anxiety, and feelings as the holidays are upon us. One thing I will say, I really like for our educational sessions to be conversational. So if at any time during our talk today, if you have something you want to ask, if you want to comment, or if I ask questions, please feel free to unmute yourself to join in. I think we'll all get more out of the presentation if it's not just me talking the whole time. So just feel free to join in, and the session is for you. So whatever you want to talk about, or any feelings that this brings up, please feel free to take yourself off mute and just speak freely. Today we're going to just look at a little introduction, and we'll do some definitions. I think it's important to understand the definitions of the holiday depression and anxiety or stress. I want to talk a little bit about statistics. We'll talk about causes of stress and depression during the holidays, some symptoms to be mindful and be aware of. And then I think most importantly, we'll look at some tips for managing stress. I know some people it's triggering just when you start talking about, oh, the holidays are coming up and we've got all this stuff going on. Just even the thought and the anticipation of the season will bring on, those feelings. So I think if we can look at them and look at some management processes that we can put into place, maybe it'll help us in the long run. So I just put this in because I thought this was cute. It says, I'm only one pudding away from a Yuletide meltdown. But I know that a lot of us, we're doing good. We're hanging out. We're getting through the holidays. And then that one thing happens, and it could be something even minor, that triggers that kind of emotional break. And so, I think we just need to be mindful of where we are in the holidays and be a little bit more self-aware. Alrighty. So the holiday season really kicks off in November and it runs all the way through January. There's a lot of holidays. I was actually looking, at all of the holidays that occur from the 1st of November to the middle of January. And these are just a few. But we have Thanksgiving, we have Diwali, we have Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. And even sometimes I think it even leads into, the National College Football playoffs, and then you got the Super Bowl, and then, oh no, it's Valentine's Day. So, this is just entering into a really busy season with all of us. And I think if we're just aware of what's coming up, I think that'll be helpful. For a lot of people, we go into the holidays and it's really thought of as a fun time of the year. We think about the fact that we get to spend time with our friends and family. We get to go to really nice parties and dress up and celebrate and have all kinds of social gatherings with family and friends and coworkers. But we all have to remember that for many people, it's also a time that's filled with some sadness, maybe some loneliness, maybe anxiety or self-reflection. And so those of us that do enter the holidays really excited and looking forward to it, I think it's important for us to be mindful that not everyone approaches the holidays with that same feeling. Holidays can cause a lot of stress. It requires us to keep track and pay attention to a lot more stuff. We have a lot more responsibilities, and it does kind of put our brain into overdrive. I was actually sitting at my desk yesterday trying to plan a Thanksgiving luncheon here at my office for 60. So, in my usual thought process, I'm like, okay, how much food do we need? How much is it going to cost? How much is that going to break down per person? And does that fit into my budget? And Can they deliver? Am I gonna have to go get it? So even just for one little celebration going into this season, my brain was in overdrive. And then I had to ask all of the managers and directors in the building, what is your input and what do you want to do? So that's just one little thing. And I can't imagine, I'm fortunate, or not. I don't have a big family in Texas. I don't have children and grandchildren. So I'm not in that mode of, oh, here comes Christmas and all the things that go along with that. But it really is important that we keep a good kind of temperature on ourselves, but also just to be aware for those around us that maybe have a harder time getting through holidays and maybe actually struggle with the holidays. So looking at just a couple of definitions, I think it's important to understand that holiday stress is stress, period. It's not a new kind of stress. It's not less of a stress than a regular stress. It's stress. And stress can be defined as a common feeling when we are under pressure or feel overwhelmed. So even if you take holidays out of the equation, I'm sure each and every one of us on this call have those times that we feel stressed or overwhelmed or under pressure. And then when we add the whole holiday piece on top of that, with that layer, it just can make things almost overwhelming. The other thing that we hear a lot, so people say, oh, I just got the holiday blues, which is really looking at kind of a depression. It could be situational. It could be that I only get sad during the holidays because I miss my family, because I'm away from my family. Maybe I had a death in my family. And the holiday blues are considered a temporary feeling of anxiety or depression during the holiday season. But another thing we have to be mindful is, at what point does this temporary feeling actually lead into something that is more permanent, that maybe we need more treatment or outreach than just getting through the holidays and, just digging in and diving through until it's January and we can breathe again. So again, I think just self-awareness, and then also again, thinking about those people that are around us, families, friends, coworkers, the people that you see every day at work. You probably see them most of the time more than you see your own family. And just being aware, what are they going through? And is there something we can do to help each other get through a difficult time? So I want to look at statistics because, a lot of times with any kind of, and I don't want to call this a mental health disorder, but any kind of situation where we're talking about feelings and anxiety and depression, there's always a little bit of a stigma that goes along with that. You don't want to be the one that gets overstressed or that feels depressed at Christmas time. You don't want that label. But I looked at these statistics. I thought they were really interesting because I think it's important that we understand that if we have these feelings, we are not alone. 49% of US adults describe their stress levels during the holiday as moderate. So almost 50% of United States adults feel moderately stressed at some time between November and January. 41% says their stress increases during the holiday season. So we're not talking about people that are just like doing fine and then all of a sudden the holidays put us into stress. We're talking about people that may work in that stressful environment. They may work stress all the time, but the holidays actually increases that stress during the holiday season. And then this is most interesting to me, 9 out of 10 United States adults say that there is at least something that causes them some kind of stress during the holiday season. So I think it's important, again, that the self-awareness and understanding that stress during the holidays is normal. I'm not a real fan of that word normal, but it is something that a lot of people do feel. It's a normal feeling. Um, even some people just asking that question, what are you doing for the holidays, right? We're getting to that time of the year. Um, I've only lived in Texas for a little over a year. It's just me and my mom out here, so we don't have a lot of family locally. And everybody at work is always like, where are y'all going for Thanksgiving? Are y'all going home? Or what are you doing for Thanksgiving? And even that can be triggering for people. I'm fine with saying, we're staying home and cooking a turkey. But for some people, even just that anticipating of what are you doing for the holidays can cause stress. And a lot of that, of course, is based on your family situation. Do you have to go to in-laws and you're not looking forward to it? Or maybe you love your in-laws, but there's that sister-in-law that drives you crazy. So just thinking about and anticipating what the holidays are going to look like can trigger the stress in people. So let's just look at some causes of holiday stress. And after we get through this list, if you want to unmute, because I am going to ask a question, I'm going to ask what causes stress for you during this time of the year that maybe we haven't listed. But so let's look at some of these reasons. So unrealistic expectations. What does that really mean? To me, unrealistic expectations are trying to do everything for everybody and not letting anybody down. How many times as the holidays come up, you have to juggle. Okay, we're going to spend Thanksgiving with the in-laws. We're going to spend Christmas Eve with my family. We're going to spend Christmas Day at home with the kids, but Christmas night, we have to go see grandma in the nursing home. And then we have the community party, and then we have all of this stuff. And it's really just setting up those unrealistic expectations that we can do everything for everybody to keep everybody happy. And a lot of people, especially a lot of type A personalities, feel like that's expected. You have to be all things to all people. And because of that, we can certainly increase our stress level. The next thing that is really important is financial stress, right? How am I going to pay for the Thanksgiving meal for 10 people? How am I going to buy these Christmas presents? Am I going to have to charge them? Am I going to be able to find stuff? I think that's one of the I guess most disappointing things about the holidays is we have those expectations and we feel like we owe everybody a present, and it's got to be the best present, and it's going to put a lot of undue financial burden on us that's not necessary. So that definitely can also cause additional stress during the holidays. The next thing on the list is loneliness. Not everybody has a supportive work family or a supportive family or friends or people to go see and to support you during the holidays. So we need to think about, just being alone during the holidays for some people can be really stressful or cause depression. And not only that, think about the holidays. A lot of places kind of close down during the holidays. So if you are in a work environment where you are able to take a break from work during the holidays, but your social group is your coworkers, all of a sudden you're stuck at home and you're not with those people that you tend to see and communicate with every day, it can cause some loneliness. Being away from family and friends. Like I said, I'm not from Texas. I've been here about a year. I'm originally from Florida, and all of my family and my mom's family is in Florida. So, if we didn't have plans and if we didn't have things to look forward to here to do with each other, it could be very depressing to be being away from family and friends during the holidays. Excessive drinking is kind of a cause and a symptom. A lot of times you have people that really don't drink a whole lot, but here comes that office Christmas party, and all of a sudden that little quiet, mouse personality in the corner is chugging the booze. And so as we drink excessively during the holidays, it can cause a lot of stress. It can cause stress that next Monday morning when you have to go to work and see all your coworkers and try to remember, was I obnoxious? Was I funny? Did I embarrass myself? And plus alcohol in and of itself can also cause depression. So that excessive drinking that comes through the holidays, through New Year's, can definitely trigger the anxiety and depression. Overall fatigue can be stressful. And again, this is kind of a symptom, and a reason, but we really wear ourselves out during the holidays and it's really easy to get fatigued. You get tired, you're running, you're staying up late, you're not keeping the normal schedule that you do during the rest of the year. Perhaps you're not exercising like you usually do because, oh my goodness, I got to get up early and get the brownies in, and I got to take the kids to school, and then I got to drop the cookies off. And, you just really get fatigued and get physically worn out. Again, the overcommitment. Yes, I'll be at the holiday party for work and my husband's work and the kids' parties before they go on spring or on Christmas, winter break. And I'm gonna do the decorations for the neighborhood community Christmas party, just overcommitting, saying yes to everything that comes along, of course, is really stressful. And again, just disrupted routines. I know as we age, routines are really important for a lot of us. And, you want to get up at the same time. You want to shower the same time. You want to eat kind of the same breakfast. You want to get to work at the same time, and get home and go through your routine. And because the holidays are so demanding on our time, a lot of times that those routines do get disrupted. And again, that can cause stress. So for those of you on the phone, what causes you stress during this time of year? Maybe something that I haven't mentioned, if you don't mind coming off mute, if somebody wants to chime in. I have a quiet bunch on today. Okay, we'll go ahead and keep going. So some symptoms of stress, we talked before, sometimes some of those were symptoms and actually causes. Symptoms of stress can be broken down into emotional, physical, behavioral, and mental. Emotional symptoms of stress can include irritability, anxiety, mood swings, loneliness, a sense of loss. Physical, you can get headaches, muscle tension, fatigue, you can have digestive issues, you can have changes in appetite, you can have excessive eating or drinking. I know a lot of times during the holidays, we eat more than normal, we drink more than normal, we don't sleep as well. When we do all of those things, then we have difficulty concentrating. And then some mental symptoms like difficulty remembering or making decisions, or the tendency to worry excessively. So again, this is kind of just a little picture, but we drink too much, we eat too much, we get an upset stomach and we get confused and then we get cranky. And at the end of the day, when we're in this situation, it not only makes it difficult for us to cope with our feelings, but it also makes it difficult for those around us, that are either seeing us go through the stress or depression, or, maybe we're causing more stress and depression for our family or coworkers because we're, in such a situation ourselves. So now I just want to get into the section to me that I think is really important is if we're feeling stressed or depressed during the holidays, how do we manage that? Because at the end of the day, this isn't something that we can depend on someone else to fix for us. Stress and depression, that are situational through the holidays, are really things that we need to fix ourselves, or at least try to address ourselves. So some tips for coping with holiday stress is just don't overschedule yourself. The holiday season, like I said, we have parties and social gatherings. remember you don't have to do it all. And sometimes I think we feel obligated to attend those Christmas parties or those family functions or, whatever way we choose to celebrate. But you don't have to do it all. Figure out what you really enjoy versus those things that you feel obligated to do, and then pick what's best for you, what's best for your family, what's going to give you the best overall holiday experience, and let the rest of it go. And I think even letting it go sometimes adds stress because you worry about what somebody's going to think or feel. If I don't attend this, are they going to be mad? Are they going to be upset? Just do what really is important to you and your family and just let the rest go. And then focus the majority of your energy and time on the activities that are fun and try to limit those activities that are less enjoyable. So your happiness is an important consideration in planning how you spend your time. So yeah, we know that we have the obligation and we have to go to the in-laws, and we really don't like to go to the in-laws, but we have to go. So maybe limit your time, instead of going and saying we're going to spend all day Christmas Eve, maybe pop in and maybe exchange presents or have a snack and then move on to an activity that's fun, that you enjoy doing with your family. Another tip for coping with holiday stress is simplify your travel and limit car time. We know that travel can be very stressful through the holiday season, especially if you're having to fly. I think every year between like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and the Sunday after, and then the days around the Christmas holidays, when you see the nightly news of all of the airports with people that are stuck and their planes won't go out because of bad weather and they get backed up and you have people sleeping in airports. I can't imagine anything more stressful than trying to get somewhere or get home during the holiday season. So keep in mind, if you have to travel, do what you can to make it easy on yourself and or your family. Try to get those direct flights, because if you get direct flights, at least the chances are if you can get on the plane, you're going to get where you're going. If not, at least try to minimize those layovers. Make sure if you're having a layover, make sure you have enough time that you're not going to miss your connecting flight. And that way you're not stressing at the airport, having to rush from plane to plane, or waiting around for long periods of time. If you're getting a connector, you don't want to have to wait in an airport from, 8 in the morning until 6 in the afternoon for your connecting flight. So try to look at that and be smart about planning your travel. The other thing is, a lot of times people complain about having to be in the car so much during the holiday season, driving from one place to another. And this can, of course, be extremely exhausting. So limit your driving to maybe one or two events that you really want to attend. And again, it's part of setting those healthy boundaries and keeping a reasonable schedule. Especially if you're having to travel long distances for particular events. If you're wanting to go to the other side of the state or out of state, maybe that's your only trip that you're going to travel long distance through the holidays. And then, of course, if you are traveling in the car, take the breaks, get out and stretch your legs, use the restroom. Don't just get in and go and try to get there, because that can be extremely tiring and extremely stressful for you and your entire family. Another coping mechanism when you're having holiday stress is to manage your gift giving. I love giving gifts at Christmas. I rather give gifts than get gifts, especially the older I get and the more I realize how much I've accumulated in my life. I'd rather get rid of stuff than get new stuff. But as fun as it is, we can also cause a lot of financial stress on ourselves. So if you're going to do a lot of gift giving, give yourself a budget. And stay within the spending limit. I think it's a wise, if you say I'm going to spend X amount of dollars this Christmas on gifts, take that money out in cash and put it in an envelope and spend out of that envelope. That way, when that envelope is empty, you're done. So it causes you to think about the gifts that you're giving. It causes you to, make sure that you're not spending beyond your means, because you are going to regret that. You may not regret it Christmas morning when everybody's opening up these really great gifts, but when that credit card statement comes in January, you're going to be thinking, what in the world was I doing? Keep in mind that small gifts let people know how much you cherish them. Bigger is not better. Consider making gifts instead of buying gifts. To me, handmade gifts and homemade goodies are more personal. And to me, they take more time than just going to the store and buying something, because you have to put time into those. And then the process of preparing homemade gifts can become a fun holiday tradition too. I know growing up, we always used to just bake for 2 or 3 or 4 days and take stuff around to all the neighbors. And they used to look forward to that, and we enjoyed doing it as a family because it gave us an opportunity to spend time in the kitchen and visit with each other and make these homemade goodies, and then get out and deliver them and see your neighbors and talk. And that became a holiday tradition for many, many years with my family. The next thing we can do to help cope with holiday stress is be responsible about what we eat and drink. Think about healthy eating choices. Moderation is key. I'm not saying don't have the eggnog. I'm not saying don't have that piece of fudge, but it's really easy for us to get into situations where we overeat, or overdrink. And we really just want to stay in that routine. Again, don't overdrink more than you normally would. Don't overeat more than you normally would. Make good choices. Have a bite of pie and not, half the pie, or have a piece of fudge and not a half a pound of fudge. And of course, during the holidays, as always, drink a lot of water to stay hydrated. That'll help with digestive issues. If you are overeating, or if you're eating foods that you're not used to that may be sweeter than normal or greasier than normal. And it will also help with hydration if you are drinking alcohol. I know I've seen a lot of different kind of healthy ways to drink, and I think that's a little counterintuitive, but drink a glass of water in between alcoholic beverages if you are going to drink. Drink your beverage and then drink a glass of water, and that way you don't have that dehydration that comes along with alcohol consumption. Another way we can cope with holiday stress is just to enjoy our family on our own terms. We want to see family during the holidays, probably more than more than usual. But some people find their extended family time stressful. So do what you need to take care of yourself. If you have a house full of people and they're getting on your nerves, get away from them. Take a break. Go for a walk. Call a friend. Take a nap. Whatever you can do to get yourself some alone time. I recently went home for a different kind of celebration, but I was around a lot of great nieces and nephews, and I'm not used to being around children at all. And being around them, they're loud, they run around, they move all the time, they're always throwing stuff and getting into stuff. And for someone like me who lives in a very quiet home, that was very stressful. And so fortunately, I was able to throw on my tennis shoes and get out and just take a walk, kind of decompress. And then when I came back, I was energized to, get on the floor and play with them some more and enjoy their company. But you have to make sure that you're doing your own self-care when you are dealing with family members or friends. You have to take care of you before you're able to take care of anyone else. Another thing that we can do to help with coping is really respect differences. If you think about when I first started this presentation, I was talking about all the different holidays that we have between November and January. I mentioned Thanksgiving and Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and Diwali, and there's just multiple cultural holidays. We're all different. Everybody has their own perspective on holidays. And there's a lot that can divide us and bring tension to social gatherings. For instance, if you are with someone who doesn't celebrate Christmas or they don't celebrate Hanukkah or whichever holiday you're off, we could find differences all the time. But to help with stress, it's better to find common ground. We're always better off if we seek peace and understanding with each other. We want to maintain harmony. So, minimize the conflict, set clear boundaries, take a break from conversations. If you find yourself in a situation that's turning negative or that seems to be causing you stress from being involved, walk away. Get away from that. Remove yourself. We know that more than likely we'll never change each other's minds, but we can certainly change the way we interact and react to each other. So if you're in a negative situation, just get away from it, take a break, and hopefully that will help minimize stress. Another thing that's really difficult during the holidays specifically is any losses that came through the previous year. If you've lost loved ones, family members, friends, pets, it's really difficult sometimes when you have that first holiday without someone that you're used to seeing year over year. And if you're in that situation, make sure that you allow space for yourself to grieve. You may want to change traditions to make your feelings of loss more manageable. Everybody deals with loss during the year differently. Some people dive headfirst in the holidays and just want to be so busy that they're not thinking about their loss. Other people need quiet time. They tend to withdraw and really, kind of dive within themselves and relive situations. So depending on, how individuals are accepting loss, you may want to find different ways to memorialize your loved ones and holiday traditions. Some people set a place setting at a meal for someone that was recently lost, or some people visit the cemetery on a holiday. But the main thing is just allow yourself time and space for the grief, and know that that's a very common feeling, and it's a feeling that a lot of times tends to bubble up a little bit more during the holidays and during times that you would normally look for that loved one. Another thing is just routine maintenance. Get your sleep, eat regular, exercise, get a massage, meditate, don't forget to breathe. Take care of yourself. And I think that's the point of this slide, is just self-care. It's really, really easy to get wrapped up in holidays and to let them overtake our normalcy. But really just stay in that routine. Don't overeat, don't overdrink, take a walk, whatever it takes to help reduce your stress level is what we want to concentrate on doing. Another thing that you might want to consider is reaching out if you need help. If you're the type of person that has a really hard time through the holidays, and you know that you're susceptible to stress or depression during the holidays, lean on your friends and family. Talk to them about how you feel. Let them help you set boundaries and practice self-care. Sometimes we get so busy and so wrapped up in our own situations that we don't really look outside of ourselves to see how someone else is doing. So it may take someone coming to you saying, I'm really struggling right now, I need your help. And if somebody does that, be available. And I think I said earlier, the holiday blues are common during the holiday season, but if there is extreme anxiety or depression present, don't ignore it. If you have severe emotional, mental, or psychological struggles, talk to your primary care provider. There are so many resources available through therapy, counseling, even potentially medications that will help any kind of mental health issues, maybe just to get you through a rough spot through the holidays, or maybe it's really, your feelings have been masked and now they're really coming through, and maybe you need more help than, just a good massage or a walk. So again, it goes back to self-care. If you feel like things are overwhelming and you're just not able to cope, then please reach out for help. To me, this is the most important tip for coping with holiday stress. And that's just using the power of no. And I think sometimes that's the hardest thing for us to do, is to tell someone no, especially someone who is depending on you, that you feel obligated to. But it's okay to tell people no. Set those limits, set realistic goals, and stick to them. Pace yourself. Don't feel like you have to do everything today and it's got to be done today and you can't leave something till tomorrow. I know some people, like the day after Thanksgiving, go buy their tree, get it up. The house is decorated before the first weekend in December. But it's okay if you don't get it all done right away. Give yourself some time and some space. Be realistic about what you can do, but more importantly, be realistic about what you cannot do. I said earlier, you can't be all things to all people all the time. So you have to prioritize. You have to figure out what's most important to you and what provides you the most joy during holidays, what provides the most joy to your family during the holidays, and really focus on those things and let the other things go. Live and enjoy the present. Sometimes we're so wrapped up, we don't see what's happening right in front of us. So allow yourself to be present when you're with your family and friends. Don't be thinking about the next thing that you have to do, or the next party you have to go to, or the next casserole you have to put in the oven. Really enjoy your time as you live it. And again, if you feel overwhelmed, practice some self-care. Decline tasks, decline invitations if you don't want to participate or you're not able to. I'd rather somebody tell me no than to commit themselves to something and either give a half-hearted approach or not be interested. Or even worse, I would hate for somebody to say yes to me and then realize later that it was like a super stressful situation that I put someone in. So learn to say no, learn to set your limits, and hopefully with, those kind of tips, this will be a much more enjoyable and more relaxing holiday season. So I just put this in here. I thought it was cute. Brace yourselves. Christmas memes are coming. Already, you see them, I'm sure, in social media. You're starting to see things on TV, and we know it's coming. So we just need to get ready. Okay, finally, I'm just going to open up for questions. If anybody has any questions or any comments you'd like to share, please unmute yourself and chime in. All righty. We'll go ahead and conclude our presentation for the day. I appreciate everyone attending, and I hope that you do have a relaxing and non-stressful holiday season moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. I greatly appreciate it.